You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Today, this breakfast isn't just breakfast. It might be the first McDonald's breakfast you're having at McDonald's again. This lunch might be a weekly tradition you hadn't had in weeks. And this dinner might be the first one you bought for not just you in a while. Whatever this order is for you, McDonald's will be here to take it.
Get more of the chicken you love with a delicious McChicken sandwich for $1. And for an extra buck, add a refreshing Dr. Pepper. Dining rooms are starting to reopen in certain communities at participating McDonald's. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
In uncertain times, we could use someone to lean on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma will stand by you with plan options to fit your budget. If you've recently lost your job, had a baby, or moved, you can still get the healthcare coverage you and your family need. Financial help may be available for those who qualify. Call 855-452-BLUE or visit hereforyouok.com to see if you're eligible to enroll. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
A new year means it's time for a new home network that can keep up. With Cox Internet, you have the speed and coverage your family needs to stay connected. You'll enjoy Cox's fiber-based hybrid network with options for fast upload and download speeds. And if your household has lots of connected devices, Panoramic Wi-Fi may be the perfect fit thanks to its advanced security on Panoramic Wi-Fi, you'll know each connected device is securely protected 24/7. A whole world of connectivity is yours with Cox Internet. Learn more at Cox.com.
Then, as of this moment, they're on double secret probation.
That is the word of the day, kiddies. That it really is. There's no other word.
Doom!
You can feel it. You can feel it in your groin. Hey, welcome. It's Sunday Night with Alan Ray. I am your humble host, Alan Ray. Welcome to everybody in chat. We've got Jeff, who you just heard. What a great show. We've got Orty. We've got myself, Big Mike. I think Rick is just an aberration. I think he's not really there. Well, we know he's not really there, but I don't think he's actually in the chat room. Rick, if you're there, show yourself. We'll have a seance, see if we can revive him. We got Evo, we got Rex, Big Rex. And yes, you got to love that picture. You know, Artie, she was hot. There's no doubt about it. It's one of the only reasons, one of the first reasons, I guess, I started paying attention to the B-52s. My God, them chicks on there were just, they were like retro 50s hot. You know, you can't help it. You got to love it. So welcome. My voice is shot. For the first time since I think, and I was thinking back along, I think 1996. Most of you kiddies weren't even born yet. That's the last time I went to a University of Michigan home game. Yes, they both were, or they were both smoke shows. We're talking about the girls from the B-52s. If you're not in chat, I don't know why. I don't know what to tell you. Get in there. www.klrnradio.com. Hit the chat button. Get in there, listen to this live. You won't regret it. Well, you'll regret it, but you'll have a lot of fun, and then tomorrow you'll regret it. That's the last time I've been to a University of Michigan home game. I went last night, U of M versus Purdue. And to tell you the truth, guys, University of Michigan, I'm talking to you guys, your second quarter was very lackluster. If you're going to go up against Ohio State in a few weeks, Thanksgiving weekend, you're going to have to play 4 quarters of top-notch football. J.J. McCarthy, your receivers. Actually, J.J. threw a lot of good passes that just got dropped. But we won. Purdue is not a bad team. Purdue is a good team. No doubt about it. I mean, they defensively, the score really didn't show what Purdue was capable of defensively. Purdue kind of, they made some big defensive plays. It's just, Michigan's just playing at a different level. Michigan's playing at about 4 levels above anybody else in the Big Ten. Then we'll find out if that's true when they play Ohio State in a few weeks. You have to be an idiot to bet on the Michigan-Ohio State game. You never know who's going to come into that stadium with the biggest chip on their shoulder. It's just, I don't care where they're playing. Now, Michigan, boy, that stadium, woo, that thing is dizzying. They got them brand new $41 million scoreboards, and they are loud. The crowd is super loud. The crowd can just deafen you, especially when they're trying to throw off the offense for the other team. A lot of tailgating going on. It was really good time. My son-in-law and my daughter were down, and they had to work the New Holland part of the alumni tent. And so we actually got into the alumni tent. We got free food, free drinks, anything we wanted. It was a really good day. Barely cost us anything. That was the best part about it. It was a good time. So yes, my voice is a little rough. We're going to have to keep it moist throughout the next hour so that I can actually continue and get this show all the way to the end. And honestly, today, it was a beautiful day. Absolutely beautiful fall day. Yesterday was a beautiful fall day in Michigan. This is just a gorgeous weekend, no doubt about it. And I was out this afternoon after we went to Dan Lee's Country House on 50 and 52 there. If you're ever in the Lenawee County area and you find yourself on the corner of M50 and M52, just make a little trip like a quarter mile south of M50 to Danley's Country House. I've been going there for decades. And the kids have taken it over. You know, the parents passed away. The kids have taken it over. And it's a good place. GR. That is so bad. He's got a picture of me when I had my long beard superimposed on Gandalf, and it just says, moist. This is what you miss when you're not in chat, I swear. But anyways, I was out. I took advantage of the day. I got the car that I've been talking about out of my garage. It's back in the barn. The barn still has a butt ton of room in it because it's just a tiny car. Now I'm going to take over my garage, and I'm going to have a functioning garage where I can repair things and I can do stuff. It's going to be good. But I was out sweeping up leaves. I don't rake leaves. I've got a giant lawn sweeper I put on the back of my tractor, and I just buzz through the lawn, sweep them all up, go put them out in the garden, cover the garden for the winter. That's what I do. I don't want to rake leaves. If work smarter, not harder, people. If you've got a giant lawn sweeper, sweep the leaves up. It's much easier. But anyway, so I get to about 5 o'clock. I come in. I'm starving. I eat again. I go sit down, try to start doing show content, and I wake up about, 6:30 with absolutely nothing to talk about. Yeah, you can mulch them with your lawn tractor too, Mike. I picked up as many as I could because I cover the garden with them. But then anything that's left over, I just mow over and mulch them up because screw it. I'm not here to impress anybody, okay? We don't live in an affluent neighborhood. My neighbors could care less. Most of them have, junk cars in their front yard. We're out in the middle of a cornfield. We don't care. We don't have to impress each other. No, it's not that bad. We look pretty good around here. But anyways, so I was like, what do I talk about tonight? And I get to the point where every once in a while, you have to just stop and look. We have an election coming up next year, right? And I wanted to stop and say, okay, let's stick our heads up above the water and see what's going on. Ew, what a mess. And here's the thing that's, the left is melting down right now. Okay, the left is just going crazy because it's scary and it's disheartening to the Democrat Party when the mainstream media comes out and says something like this. And this is from New York Times. President Biden is trailing Donald Trump in 5 of the 6 most important battleground states 1 year before the 2024 elections, which, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Trump still has to win the primaries. He has to stay out of prison. They're going to try to do everything they can to make sure that he is not running for president in 2024. Mark my words. This news is going to drive them to just do everything that they can do with their eely, slimy little communist-infested judicial system to make sure that he's under the prison by the election in 2024. I guarantee you. This is going to send them over the edge. But I find it interesting that the mainstream media is actually reporting this. President Biden's trailing Donald Trump in 5 of 6 battleground states. Says suffering from 2024, suffering from enormous doubts about Biden's age and deep dissatisfaction over his handling of the economy and a host of other issues. Now, this is a new poll by the New York Times and the Siena College. The results show that Mr. Biden losing to Donald Trump, his likeliest Republican rival, by margins of 4 to 10% points among registered voters in, get this, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. Mr. Biden is ahead only in Wisconsin by 2 percentage points. That's it. Across the 6 battleground states, all of which Biden carried in 2020, the president trails by an average of 48 to 44%. Discontent pulsates through the Times Siena poll, with a majority of voters saying Mr. Biden's policies have personally hurt them. The survey also reveals that the extent to which the multiracial, multigenerational coalition that elected Mr. Biden is fraying. Demographic groups that backed Mr. Biden by landslides margins in 2020 are now far more closely contested, as 2/3 of the electorate see the country moving in the wrong direction. Let me repeat that. 2/3. That's almost 66%. Oh, just kidding. Voters under 30 favor Mr. Biden by only a single percentage point. His lead among Hispanic voters is down to a single digit. And his advantage in urban areas is half of Mr. Trump's edge in rural regions. While women still favor Mr. Biden, men prefer Mr. Trump by twice as large a margin, reversing the gender advantage that has fueled so many Democratic gains in recent years. Now, you know, I know, we all know, you cannot depend on polls. If you put your faith in polls, you're an idiot. But to have the mainstream media, and I found similar articles to this in CNN, NBC, of course, the New York Times, mainstream media has rolled this out. And you have to ask yourself, you know how the media works. You know the media is controlled. The media will fudge numbers. The media will do everything they can not to get the truth out. Why all of a sudden, ask yourself, why all of a sudden did they roll this article out right now to basically tell you that Joe Biden's losing to Trump? And that if the election were to happen today, it would all be over. And this isn't it. This isn't the only one. NBC News, just today, just not too long, they released this just before I came on the air. Northfield, Minnesota. Dairy farmer Stephen and Jody Olson Reed have heard what others in rural Minnesota communities think about the economy, griping about inflation and rising costs. While they acknowledge that small farms have felt the economic impacts of the last few years very acutely, the pair went to see President Joe Biden speak on Wednesday in their hometown because they think he's on the right track. Now they're saying, despite what everyone is saying, the economy's been humming along pretty well. I don't blame Biden for inflation. I blame corporate greed. Okay, this is coming from NBC. However, over the past 2 years, inflation has hit rural households harder than the rest of the country. According to researchers at Iowa State University, rural households had to pay an extra $8,120 due to inflation in 2021 and 2022, more than the $7,480 paid by urban households in the same 2 years. Meanwhile, researchers at Cornell University estimate that 94% of the nation's job growth since 2000 happened in urban counties. So, the news just gets worse for Biden. He's losing the rural vote. Living in the middle of a cornfield where you are hearing me broadcast live on Sunday night, I can tell you our cost of living has skyrocketed. We are paying more to heat our home. We are paying much more to feed ourselves. We are paying much more to just get into our vehicle and go to church on a Sunday morning. Much more. And it was bad enough that we were going through a time period under Biden where we just couldn't get certain things. It was really weird. It was really stupid, but there were shortages. And these shortages had a ripple effect. Now, I started reporting this back in 2021. I threw the alarm up because I was doing buying. Now, I still do a little bit of purchasing for my department, but I'm running it now. But I can tell you, as a fact, that a lot of the products that, and then this is something they don't really want to report on in the economy, a lot of the products that are used to fix your vehicles, a lot of the products that are staples in offices and your home, toilet paper, Clorox wipes, things that we used constantly. A lot of these things have gone up. Some of these things have gone up 100 to 200, 300%. I threw this flag up in the air a couple of years ago and said, hey, something's going on here. This isn't good. Now, they have been trying to convince you that this economy is booming right along. It's going right along. And I asked you last week, for who? Who is the economy benefiting? It's not us. We're not getting benefited from it. We're receiving no benefits from it. So who's it helping? And I can tell you, the farther you get out into God's country, into rural areas, into the flyover state countries that these D.C. vermin hate so much, the further you get out into it, the harder times get. And it's reaching the left and the right. People notice. Eric, welcome. Eric's late. Eric, you're late. You are late. You are late, Eric.
Then, as of this moment, they're on double secret probation.
Eric's on double secret probation. Anyways, according to the Pew Research, former President Donald Trump was able to win 65% of the rural vote in 2020, up from 59% in 2016, pulling away more than Mitt Romney did in 2012. Republican candidates ranked 69% of the rural vote in the 2022 midterms. It looks like the rural vote is going to swing right. Funny, I don't feel tardy. Let's see. So Biden took to the rural areas. He went out there and, by God, I'm going to tell them people that they're doing great. I don't care what they say. They're doing great. They're not the experts here. Never mind that, it's $200 for about an eighth of a carton of food, or of a cart of food from the grocery store now. That food has tripled in price in some instances. It's definitely, the experts even say it's gone up 20, 30%. Never mind that. Never mind your gas. It costs you more to drive to work and back. Never mind the fact that you're having to have an extra job just to make your ends meet. And that's why rural voters are evading Democrats. NBC News is reporting to this. And I want to get through this in the first half hour because I got other things to report on the first. I don't want to stay on politics the whole night. I really just don't, because lately politics makes your Uncle Al here feel nauseous. But this is from go.com. And I found some other things. It says, heading into 2024, most Americans believe the country is heading in the wrong direction. Now dig this. A year before the presidential election, 3/4 of Americans, 76%, believe the country is headed in the wrong direction. And the leading Democratic and Republican candidates are viewed broadly unfavorably, according to the new ABC poll. Let me repeat that. 76% of the people in the country feel we are headed in the wrong direction, and that the leading Democratic and Republican candidates are viewed broadly unfavorably. According to an ABC News poll, only 23% of Americans think the country is headed in the right direction. 23%. How many Americans do the government employ? Because I get the feeling that maybe that's the majority of the 23%. I'm sure everybody who makes their living grubbing off of the taxpayers' backs think the economy is absolutely great. GR and chat just said, look, fat, the economy's great. Just look at, the thing. Chat, I got an assignment for you, chat. What do you, and remember, this show, I try really hard to keep it rated G. God knows I try. Sometimes it doesn't work. That's okay. I want you in chat to tell me what you think is more popular than Joe Biden. Because I tweeted out just a little while ago that that a pair of soiled underwear found in a 7-Eleven bathroom is more popular than Joe Biden. Get on it, chat, because I want to read these when you get on it. Republicans are overwhelmingly negative. 95% of Republicans think things in this country are headed in the wrong direction, followed by 76% of independents and 54% of Democrats, according to the poll. Okay, that, I'm telling you, that right there is throwing up all kinds of flags with the Democrats. Let me repeat that. 95% of Republicans, 76% of independents, and 54% of the Democrats polled say that this country is heading in the wrong direction. That is massive. And this is why Joe Biden's in panic mode. He is out there trying to get in your face and say, look, this economy's going great. Yeah, we know you're starving to death, and we know you can't get to work because you can't afford gas, and we know you're freezing to death because you can't afford heating oil. But, Jack, this economy is beautiful. Yeah, for him, not us. Okay, Joe Biden. What is more popular than Joe Biden? Ebola. Ebola is more popular than Joe Biden. Alien anal probing is more popular than Joe Biden. I don't want to know. I don't want to know how you know that, Jeff. A can of Amish churned butter found behind the Circle K is more popular than Joe Biden. A drug-free colonoscopy is more popular than Joe Biden. Oh, Mike. Mike says my wife's vagina is more popular than Joe Biden. Oh, my gosh. Made with love. Yep. Oh, man. So, what does this mean? I'll tell you what it means. I'm gonna let you on a little secret, my personal belief. Democrats are not stupid, okay? They're very organized. They're diabolical. They're evil. They're satanic. They're not stupid. They are very organized. They are very on top of getting protests going at a whim, getting things happening. People, you're going to see some crazy stuff. And this is the bad thing. Just a few days ago, this is what's funny. Just a few days ago, NBC was trying to defend Joe Biden. I mean, they're all up in his case right now. This tells me that they're going to try to yeet him out. They're going to try to get him out of there and get somebody in there that can maybe win the votes. Just a few days ago, NBC was defending Joe Biden. Says no one seems to like Bidenomics. And that's the problem. And maybe they're not defending him here. Biden's economic policies, not voters, not Democratic officials, not even at times the president himself. It's a term that mystifies Americans and confounds even its namesake. I don't know what that is, Biden said in a speech in Philadelphia earlier. He used to brag about Bidenomics. But Bidenomics is a jumbled mess, and it's really hard to explain. Now, it says Biden is undeterred, at least for now. He's made the statement the nation's economy is central rationale of his re-election pitch, touting Bidenomics at events across the country. But see, he's not getting any traction. And even this article comes out and says the trouble is people aren't buying it. The phrase hasn't caught on. Now, yes, there's a low jobless rate because everybody has got 2 jobs. They have to in order to survive. So, it's getting bad. It's getting bad. This tells me that they're going to yeet the old man out into space. They have to. They have to jettison him out into the void, because if they don't, they're not going to walk away with this election and probably going to lose the Senate as well. Because people are seeing they're crazy. They let their crazy just come right out. You know, it turns out that the center, and even probably the center left, don't want men in women's locker rooms, don't want men winning women's sports, don't want to set us back to the 1920s by putting up electricity that's not going to work. We already know it's not going to work. And when we get back from the break, I'm going to talk about my own home state and how stupid it's getting here. It's getting crazy. And nobody's throwing up the red flag and going, guys, look at what happened to California when they went this way. Just go ask the Californians how this is working out for them. Because our moron in Lansing is trying to make us California. And you have to ask yourself why. We have reached the bottom of the hour already. Oh my gosh, it's just flown by. When we come back, there's that. There's space. Not to get on Jeff's bandwagon there. And there's ham radio stuff and all kinds of fun things. Don't go away. We will be back in just a few moments with Sunday Night with Al and Ray. Yes, you are palling with Al.
Listen now and don't forget, if you go for that solid jive, you can always keep the dream alive. Palin', palin', palin' with Al.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
I told you this last week. I told you that Zelensky was going to just start freaking out because of the Israel thing. And he is. He's starting to crack. He has to be the center of attention. All of this, the Russian-Ukraine thing has to be the center of attention. All of our focus has to be on Russia and Ukraine, or what the elites are doing is not going to work. And it came out today, BBC. Actually came out yesterday. I'm sorry. Came out yesterday from the BBC. The Israel-Hamas conflict is, quote, taking away the focus, unquote, from the war in Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky has admitted. He said this was one of the goals of Russia, which launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. And he denied that fighting in Ukraine had reached a stalemate despite a recent assessment to this effect by the country's top military general. Ukraine's counteroffensive in the south has so far made little headway. This has prompted fears of war fatigue among Kiev's Western allies, with suggestions of growing reluctance in some capitals to continue giving Ukraine advanced weapons and funds. Speaking at a Saturday briefing in Kiev with visiting European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, Mr. Zelensky said it's clear that the war in the Middle East is taking away the focus from Ukraine. Pay attention to me! You gotta pay attention to me! Sorry, you're in the back seat, princess. You know, and that's just it. Why do you care who's seeing it? You know, the focus is away from me. I'm not the victim anymore. It's victim mentality. It's just ridiculous. Welcome back. I'm Alan Ray. It's Sunday Night with Alan Ray. This is the show where we stand up, take a big look around this giant blue ghetto rock that we're hurtling through space at an unimaginable speed, and we ask the eternal question.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
If you ever figure it out, please, God, let me know, because I have no idea. I think my gut feeling, I'm going to prognosticate a little bit here. My gut feeling is you're going to see something massively stupid happen in Ukraine soon if the focus stays on Israel. Because the whole premise, the whole Ukraine thing, the whole scam that's running there, and I don't know why all of a sudden this is coming out, but the whole Ukraine being ignored, it can't happen. It can't happen. Unless it's a lost cause, unless the establishment politicians in the United States and other places who have vested interest, whose kids sit on energy boards in Ukraine, making, millions of dollars, 10% for the big guy, making their families extremely wealthy by exploiting an entire nation, a system. If they find that that is a lost cause, then what's going on in Israel is the perfect cover to just sit back and watch Ukraine fail after you get all of the things you can. 18.5 miles a second for the record, hurtling through space. Thank you, Jeff. See, something told me I knew that you would do that, and thank you for that. I don't know. All I know is sometimes that you can feel that 18.5 miles a second. Today's one of those days where it just feels like we're hurtling through space. Even though it's been a nice day, it's been beautiful, I'm really tired. And I have exposed to way too many people this weekend. But, I get the gut feeling that you're going to see something phenomenally stupid happen in Ukraine to get the collective media's head snapped back to Zelensky. He's a drama queen, and he's an installed drama queen. The United States of America installed Zelensky. More specifically, the Barack Obama administration installed Zelensky. Probably, perceivably, due to the pressure put on Obama by more than likely the Clintons, more than likely the Bidens, and any other swamp-dwelling, lifelong politicians whose kids mysteriously sit on an energy board even though they have absolutely no experience running an energy company. Don't you find that a little bit weird? Don't you find that a little bit concerning? And then all of a sudden we're at war with that exact nation? Well, we're not, but the Russians and Ukraine, war breaks out between them. And let's face it, folks, we're fighting a proxy war. We may as well just go there and just start fighting. So don't be surprised. Just don't be surprised if something stupid happens in Ukraine that jerks the entire media right back over to them. There's no coincidences anymore, especially when it comes to conflicts, especially when it comes to major events. There's just no coincidences anymore. I have a hard time even believing that there ever was. I mean, you go back as far as World War II. We knew the Japanese were going to attack us. They had to attack us. We cut off all their fuel. We cut off all their resources. It was either fight or die. We knew the Japanese called. In fact, we started preparing for a war in Japan before 1900. There are books about it. History books, real history books, not made up fake crap that you get in schools nowadays. What was it? Project Yellow, I think, was the perceived war in Japan. Started in like 1888, 1889, somewhere like that. We knew we were going to eventually have to fight the Japanese, and we kind of forced it. Now, there's speculation. There's speculation we forced it because Washington, D.C. wanted to jump straddle in the middle of World War II, and it needed an excuse. It needed an excuse to get into World War II, and the people of the day felt like exactly what a lot of people feel like now. Looking at Ukraine, looking at Russia, it's like, you know what? It's not worth it. Why would we send our youth into a meat grinder? It's just, we got to stop doing that. It's insane. So, yeah. I just, you look at most wars and there's just weird things that went on. We know for a fact now that it's even been released that Vietnam, the whole Vietnam episode, was started by a CIA lie. Made up CIA story. Nobody's going to hang for it. Nobody's going to get in trouble for it. But there it is. Let's narrow it down to my beautiful home state of Michigan that has been infested for the last few years by rats. By rats, I mean Democrats. They've taken over the entire government, and they are trying really hard and really fast to make us into California 2.0. Governor Gretch Whitmer is just a basically, she's an idiot, okay? She's a tyrant. She's a queen wannabe. And this is something that's very disturbing. This came out this week, actually came out today. And this is from Capcom. Michigan watchdog. They're like a conservative watch blog. So the Michigan House on Thursday, now remember, the Michigan House, the Michigan Senate has turned blue for the first time in 40 years. 40 years. And it's all because the election before this last one, they tricked people, stupid people, into signing a constitutional amendment that gave a, quote, panel of 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and 2 independents, which basically there were 4 Democrats and 2 Republicans, basically, to redistrict all of the state. And what they ended up doing was effectively redistricting the state, so there will never probably be ever a red Senate or House again. This is going to be California 2.0. They trick people unless something goes so wrong and Democrats become so unpopular that independents start voting for Republicans in this state. But as it stands right now, the majority of the state of Michigan, the land-owning majority, which is every county in this state except for just a few, are solid red. They are now completely unrepresented in our government. The same people who cry about democracy all the time have taken democracy away from the state of Michigan. It is now authoritarian blue rule. And to prove that, this came out. The Michigan House on Thursday approved bills that would strip local communities of the power to accept or deny large-scale wind and solar projects, giving that power to appointees of the governor, unelected officials of Gretch. House Bill 5120 and 5121 are headed to the Senate. They met opposition from municipal groups, but it wasn't enough. Zoning is a vested interest of local governments and should remain as such, Madeline Fata told lawmakers on behalf of Michigan Association of Counties. The House passed both bills by an identical 56 to 52 margin, with two lawmakers not voting each time. The bills take another step towards elevating Governor Gretchen Whitmer's Healthy Climate Plan into law, which has nothing to do with the climate, has everything to do with authoritarian tyranny, her power grab, and she showed you who she was during COVID. She grabbed power, undeniably grabbed power, and played queen until the Michigan court system, the Michigan Supreme Court, told her that it doesn't work, that she has been violating Michigan law. And why she was never made to answer for what she did, I don't know. So she's already proven that she wants complete and absolute rule. This is just another part of that. This radical plan will ban natural gas, close power plants, and depend too much on fluctuating, unreliable wind and solar energy, and let Governor Whitmer's administration ignore local decisions and force wind and solar farms in rural Michigan communities to make their blackout nightmare a reality, said Representative Matt Hall. This should scare you half to death if you live in this state. This is unreal. I can't believe I'm sitting there watching this. You know, the state used to have kind of a balance. I mean, the governorship would go left or right, depending on how popular the person was. But we always had at least one of the, whether the Senate or the House, Michigan would have at least one of those red, solidly red. Never before have we lost everything. And you can't convince me that the left, and they didn't cheat. No, they didn't cheat at all. They fooled people into allowing them to sign their own death warrant. You can't convince me that they didn't know exactly what they're doing. And this wasn't all set up so that they would have absolute power and there would be no what they call democracy in the state of Michigan anymore, period, hands down. They don't care about democracy. They care about power, absolute power. Not to mention the fact, and this is from Mackinac.org, Mackinac.org, bills passed by the Michigan Senate last night will drastically increase Michigan's energy costs and harm energy reliability. Senate Bill SB 271 and 273 and SB 502, which would require the state to use 100% clean energy by 2040. Below is a statement from Jason Hayes, Director of Energy and Environmental Policy at the Mackinac Center for Public Policy. Quote, while recognizing the need for energy sources like nuclear and natural gas is progress, these bills would still have drastic consequences. There is no doubt that people would quickly experience increased costs and widespread grid instability as a result of wind, solar, and backup battery-based electric grid. Michigan ratepayers should know that it's impossible to achieve net zero goals on the cheap. Even these amended bills will continue to impose substantial costs on the average Michigan family while achieving little to nothing to actually address the climate change issue politicians claim they want to solve. Estimates show that taking the state of Michigan to net zero emissions by 2050 would only reduce global temperatures by approximately, dig this, 1/1000th of a degree Celsius by the year 2100. So we are going to destroy people. We are going to literally break the backs of the middle to lower working class for 1/1000th of a degree Celsius by the year 2100. Meanwhile, people can expect to pay an additional $2,746 in energy costs each year just to experience more blackouts. Michigan already has a problem with blackouts. If you don't live here, if you don't have to put up with this crap, we have an issue. Now, I guarantee you, I haven't read this bill yet, but I guarantee you somewhere buried in this bill is something that's going to outlaw generators, outlaw gas-powered generators. I guarantee you this. And just last spring, just a few months ago, I was without power for a week from an ice storm. And then we were without power again in August from a tornado that hit around here. 4 days. This electric grid is crap. And they're going to make it crappier. They're going to make it more unreliable. So if you live in an area that's slowly being infested by the left, fight them. Fight them tooth and nail. And it should scare you, GR. GR lives in Pennsylvania. And they're going to want to play copycat. These people are going to infest everything they can. And they're organized. They're organized. Look what's happening right now in D.C. All the people, Palestine, the Jew haters. Let's just call them what they are, Jew haters. All of those people that showed up in Washington, D.C. to protest, that wasn't grassroots. That wasn't spur of the moment. That's planned. The one thing that the left does really, really well is they're organized. They have phone apps. They have message boards on the computers. They have ways to get a lot of people motivated all at the same time. Stupid students who really don't know anything. And they can motivate them in a heartbeat. And they pay a lot of them to do what they're doing. And Republicans just sit there with their thumb up their butt. Well, we can't really offend anybody because if we do, they might not like us. This is why we're in the mess we are today. And if you notice, like I said, I'm talking about this on my show right now. But in reality, in real life, I've gone from trying to wake people up to say, just go ahead and sleep. Because it really doesn't matter who's in charge right now, because until we purge the entire system of the World Economic Forum and the United Nations interventions, we're just going to keep heading down this radical extremist left path no matter what. And I've gone from trying to wake people up to just trying to round up a community, a local community of people who we all have special talents. We all have special things we can do, things that we know how to grow, how to preserve. I got a neighbor right behind me that I've started trading for eggs. Probably help them raise, and I'm down there helping them all the time. So they gladly give me a little bit of a break. And if I do owe them money for eggs, which I gladly pay, I don't want to take anybody's anything at this point in time. Yeah, we'll barter later on. When everything collapses, we'll barter. But we are heading for a major collapse. And everybody's just sitting there with their thumb up their butt. All right. 2 things before we go. Might run over a little bit. I don't care. You guys don't care in chat that I run over a little bit. Scientists say they found remnants of an ancient planet that collided with Earth to form the moon. Now, before I get into this, let me just say, scientists are baffled by the moon. The moon is a very curious thing. Number one, they know it's hollow. When one of the Apollo landers landed on the moon, it reverberated for hours like a giant bell. They don't know why. It faces, the same section of the moon faces the Earth. Everything about the moon sort of indicates that it was put there intentionally. And it's kind of creepy if you study it. But anyways, scientists are coming up with this theory. So scientists widely agree that an ancient planet likely smashed into Earth as it was forming billions of years ago, spewing debris that coalesced into the moon that decorates our sky at night. The theory, called the giant impact hypothesis, explains many fundamental features of the moon and the Earth. But one glaring mystery at the center of this hypothesis has endured. What happened to the planet that hit it? The planet called Theia. Direct evidence of its existence has remained elusive. No leftover fragments from the planet have been found in the solar system, and many scientists assume that any debris Theia left behind on Earth was blended in the fiery cauldron of our planet's interior. Now, this is all from, KSL.com. A new theory, however, suggests that the remnants of the ancient planet remain partially intact, buried underneath our feet. Molten slabs of Theia, they call the planet, could have embedded themselves within Earth's mantle after impact before solidifying, leaving portions of the ancient planet material resting above Earth's core some 1,800 miles below the surface, according to a study published Wednesday by the journal Nature. Now, this is a bold new idea, because if the theory is correct, it would not only provide additional details to fill out the giant impact hypothesis, but also answer a lingering question for geophysicists. They were already aware that there were two massive, distinct blobs that are embedded deep within the Earth. The masses, called Large Low-Velocity Provinces, or LLVPs, were first detected in the 1980s. One lies beneath Africa and another below the Pacific Ocean. These blobs are thousands of kilometers wide and likely more dense with iron compared with the surrounding mantle, making them stand out when measured by seismic waves. But the origins of the blobs, each of which are larger than the moon, remain a mystery to scientists. But for Qian Yan, a geophysicist and postdoctoral fellow at the California Institute of Technology and the new study's lead author, his understanding of LLVPs forever changed when he attended a 2019 seminar at Arizona State University's alma mater that outlined the giant impact hypothesis. That's when he learned new details about Theia, the mysterious projectile that presumably struck Earth billions of years ago. And as a trained geophysicist, he knew of those mysterious blobs hidden in the Earth's mantle. Yuan had a eureka moment, he said. Immediately, he began perusing scientific studies, searching to see whether someone else had proposed that LLVPs might be fragments of Theia, but no one had. He said, I was afraid of turning to other people because I was afraid others think I was too crazy. So anyways, this guy wrote a hypothesis, and trust me, it's a hypothesis. They don't really know. They'll never really know. That maybe the planet that crashed into the Earth that they think possibly formed the moon is beneath our feet. We're standing on it. Interesting stuff. Yes, Jeff, that is right. Jeff just put a meme in there. Get your Sunday night nerd on, folks. It's a nerd fest. Yes, I get into politics. I get into all kinds of stuff, but deep down inside, we're nerds on this end of the KLRN spectrum. And by spectrum, I'm referring to the autism spectrum. No, just kidding. All right, one last thing before I call it. And thank you, Jeff, for shooting this article at me. I was talking a little bit last week about bands opening up. Solar Maximum. 10 meters a couple of weeks ago opened up in Europe. And I was able to sit here and talk to people in Germany, Russia, Latvia, Bulgaria, Sweden, Switzerland, Scotland, England, just all over Europe. Talking to them just like I'm sitting here talking to you right now. Very clear, very distinct, very powerful. Just using a 100-watt radio and a 132-foot wire running out the back of my property. All thanks to sunspots. Sunspots affect the ionosphere in the Earth and allow the bounce from 10 meters. And let's face it, folks, you probably don't know this, but 10 meters is basically just a little, the band, the frequency is just a little bit above CB radios. And if you know CB radios, a lot of times it opens up to the point, and we're there now, where you can sit on a 4-watt CB radio and talk to somebody thousands of miles away. The atmosphere is getting really squirrely. And if you're a ham radio operator, it's good, and it can also be frustrating. Because when you have solar storms, you can't even get on the freaking radio. But you also have days, weeks, and we're heading into winter, so things will probably get really cool from here, until next spring, where frequencies are going to open up. Communication is going to be awesome. But this is a space.com came out with this. It says the sun will reach the peak of its current activity cycle in 2024, 1 year earlier than previous estimates, according to experts at NOAA's Space Weather Prediction Center. The revised prediction now places Solar Cycle 25's peak of activity, known as Solar Maximum, between January and October 2024. So next year is going to be absolutely, yes, Mike, you're exactly right. Skip is a terminology used in ham radio. Skip is basically It's almost like if you take a rock and skip it across the water, like you do, except it's just the opposite. You're bouncing radio signals, HF radio signals, off the ionosphere and back down. That is called skip. When it hits and then jumps back up and back down, you can get a couple of skips out of things. There's also inductance, there's funneling, there's all kinds of fun stuff. But anyways, let's see. The solar cycle describes an approximately 11-year period of solar activity, and if you listen to my show, you know that, driven by the sun's magnetic field, and indicates the frequency of intensity of visible sunspots on the surface. Predictions on when solar maximum will occur are based on long-term historical records of sunspot numbers, advanced statistics, and models of the solar dynamo, the flow of hot ionized gases within the sun that generate our star's magnetic field, which in turn drives the solar cycle. So, they thought the peak was going to be in 2025. And now they're saying, well, the peak is going to be in 2024. Now, it is still going to be, it's peaking right now. I mean, we're getting close. Incredible things are happening. But they're saying it's bigger, and they didn't think it was going to be much of a solar cycle, and now they're saying, hey, we were wrong. So we're not 100% sure, but we're pretty sure that this is going to be great. Now, here's the downside of it, and we talked about this last week too. The risk, a super powerful, a super excited sun, a lot of sunspots, lots of rejections, stuff like that, like we're having right now, can be very dangerous. Coronal mass ejections, this is the time between now and whenever the sun settles down again, starts decreasing. This is the time where it's most dangerous to have another Carrington event, which, as you know, in 1859, a series of fast coronal mass ejections struck Earth during a solar storm. It's known as the Carrington event. Now, this triggered auroras as far south as Cuba. In other words, in Cuba, they were looking at aurora borealis in Cuba. And there's stories about the Carrington event where people thought would wake up thinking it was daylight, and it wasn't. It was the aurora. The problem is, if such an event occurred today, it would cause widespread power outages and loss of satellite services affecting communications, financial transactions, traffic management, and more. It could cost the world's economy trillions of dollars. Could you imagine that happening right now when everything's like on the fence, just about ready to collapse? That would just like, poof, okay, you're pushed over the edge. More recently, in February 2022, a solar storm disabled 40 of SpaceX Starlink satellites. This is from the BBC, Skies at Night. It's a dangerous time. And we've known about it. I told you just last year we missed a major coronal mass ejection hitting Earth by like a couple of weeks. And if it would have hit, if that big storm would have hit the Earth, it would have screwed things up. And by screwed things up, I'm talking about a lot of satellites, GPS, computer systems, anything connected to a long wire, because the wire acts like an antenna, could have got pretty much burned out. Could have caused trillions of dollars of damage. We don't know. So as exciting as it is, and every once in a while, you'll actually see me post a YouTube video of solar weather, of space weather. And it's kind of interesting to watch. So that's what's going on in the skies. And how does it affect you? EMP caused you to lose sleep at night. Yeah, you know, EMPs are a little more powerful and they can be a little more damaging. Your best bet is to have something, a little bit of power that's not hooked to anything long. Coronal mass ejections, EMPs are if they happen. Coronal mass ejections are when they happen. We are long overdue to hit a major coronal mass ejection storm, major CME storm. And it's been hit several times. We've had a lot of them. A couple of storms have hit just this past year and a half that have interrupted communications, have made wireless communications screwed up. Things go wonky, your cell phones get kind of crazy, and then after a few hours, they're fine. But if we have a major one like we did in the Carrington event, it could burn out anything hooked to a wire. It can burn out anything with an antenna. Your cell phone has an antenna. All the wires we have strung across this nation will act like giant radiators, like giant antennas, and they will take that direct hit with that current and just overload the system and could cause months of blackout. And here we have this dunderhead in Lansing, Michigan, wanting everything to be electric. We have these idiots in Washington, D.C., wanting everything to be electric. I almost hope it does happen. I almost hope a CME does happen. I'd like to see it just like scare the heck out of these people. Just knock a whole bunch of stuff out and go, oh, well, maybe electricity isn't the way to go. Your mom has an antenna. That's your mom, Orty, not mine. All right. We're blowing past the top of the hour. Guys, thank you so much for listening to Sunday Night with Alan Ray. I've had a good time. It's been a great time. I'm going to go basically get a good night's sleep, try to catch up with the time change, try to get my stuff, I don't know. It's been a long weekend. It's been a fun weekend, extremely fun weekend, but I'm exhausted. So I'm going to get this show all wrapped up, get it uploaded, and then I'm going to bed. Everybody have a great night. God bless you. Keep it locked on KLRN Radio all week long for the best, and I repeat myself, the best in podcasting. And I will, Lord willing, be back here next Sunday. Until then, peace out. Enjoy. God bless.